So what was your life like before Legacy Farmer came in across like your being, balance, and then of course business?
Yeah, so I would say it was just chaotic. Um, it's like everything was, you didn't know what any day was going to be like, or what was going on, or what the plan was, or what was going to be expected of you. Um, Also, very lonely um, because of how farming is, you know, like I just said, you don't know what is going to happen day to day. It's hard to make plans. It's hard to have people rely on you. So it's hard to commit to things. Um, so I find that a lot of time even friendships or things like that were really harder to maintain because I mean, you have to nurture relationships, and it's really hard when you don't know if you can do things or what you got going on or if you're going to be needed. Um, so I would say in talking about that, then confidence kind of is low because then you kind of never know where you stand with people. Um, and I would say like relationship wise, like with Jeff and I, it's, you're really making me think here. Relationship wise, it's, I would say it's hard to count on each other even because he's so invested in the farm and the farm needs him. And so I find that as a mother, raising three little girls, I had to just kind of learn how to do everything on my own and not count on him. So at the end of the day, at the end of the week, it feels like you kind of got the world on your shoulders because you just have to take care of everything yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to ask for help if he's sitting in a tractor and he's got to get the field planted. He's got to figure it out on your own.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, and nor is that his focus too in that point in time. Like his mind can't be in two different chaotic worlds at the same time.
yep, exactly. Yep. So I think it puts a lot of pressure on the moms to and the wives to just handle it, and you can't complain about it because this is the money maker, is getting that crop in the ground. So yeah.
I feel ya. All right. So what has changed since you and Jeff became members?
So a lot, actually. When I sit back and actually think about how much has changed, it's still kind of chaotic, but not in the same sense. I mean, you're always going to have chaos because you're dealing with Mother Nature every day. But so I would say the tools that we have through Legacy Farmer have really kind of, instead of our minds going around in circles all day, like, okay, we got to do this, got to do this, got to do this, and then never like starting 5 things and never getting them finished. The tool of stacking really helps you get through some of those decisions. So you can kind of like, okay, I figured it out. Now I'm done with that and we're going to move on. It really helps you to kind of prioritize and not let things cloud up your head when you got a whole list of things that need to get done. And I would say watching Jeff use the stacking tools every day it's been really wonderful, just seeing how he can get through some of these tough decisions he has to make, and he's just handling it instead of worrying about it for a couple days, so I would say for sure the stacking tool. Also just all the trainings on how to have balance in all the areas of your life. So if you are eating junk all day, you're going to feel like crap and you aren't going to make the right decisions. I mean, we all know that, but maybe we just needed someone to tell us that. So just how one area affects all the other areas. So have a good foundation and then you can start to grow up. And I think that's been really big for both of us, just to hear someone else tell us that. Mm-hmm. Also, our life was very stagnant before this. It was like we were just kind of stuck in the mud. we were married 10 years and not much has changed as far as growth in our personalities, as far as growth in the business, as far as, I mean, growth just in general. It's just, you wake up, you go to work, and you come home. And it's like one day, I don't know how many years, 8 years in, I'm like, Jeff, what's the goal here? Like, are you just going to work this hard for the rest of your life, or do we got a goal? Because if we can work towards a goal, he's like, yeah, just keep putting the crop in, keep fixing the machines. There's got to be more of a goal to that. But that's as far as, he could figure it out. And I'm just the wife. So I'm just doing the wifely things and kind of letting him lead. And it just felt like something was missing. So I would say now it's fun watching both of us grow.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Awesome. All right. And then would you say your routine has changed, like your daily routine?
Definitely. We're getting up earlier. We are more motivated. We're getting a lot of things done right away in the morning when you should be getting things done, not making important decisions at 9, 10 o'clock at night. We're eating healthier. We're more intentional with how we're using each hour of every day, which is, you have to be. I mean, you should be if you're a farmer or not, but there's just a lot on everybody's plate. So be intentional with what you're using your time for. Mm-hmm. And I would say too, just reaching out to the other women in the Farm Wives group, reading each other's stacks throughout the day and just seeing how people are processing problems. Actually, it helps you to process the same issues. Mm-hmm. So that has actually helped Jeff and I out a lot. Yeah. And just knowing that we're like in this network with people who are like us and who understand us. A lot of times, your friends don't really understand what you're going through, or why you have to do these things, or why you can't come to stuff, or how do I always get asked, how do you put up with the farming, like all those long hours? And it's just, but I don't know. It's just, you just need to be around people who get it too. So I like that.
I agree. And then also too, I would add in with that, like myself being younger, having mm-hmm. women with kids and are tackling all of these chaotic things in their lives, like think how much pain that's going to like save me from in the future.
Oh, and absolutely. You're gonna, and you got a lot of people where, you can ask questions too, because we've had to figure it out the hard way.
But it's true for everybody too, like reading through the stacks and seeing how everybody processes things. It just helps us in the future when we come across that, because we will. We all are so similar. It's just going to help us through that process. So.
Yep. Right.
All right. So you kind of already answered this, but what would you say your favorite thing about Legacy Farmer is?
Oh, I can't just pick one though. I would say, well, my favorite for me is, okay, the favorite for me is the networking, but the most useful is the stacking and the core 4. Mm-hmm. I'm going to stick with that.
Okay. And what would you think it would be for Jeff? How do you think he would answer that?
I'm going to say the stacking, but also the networking, because, it's been talked about with friendships. Like you don't know these people, but yet you feel like, these people, like we're all going through the same things, and we just get each other. So I think he says that a lot too. Like he'll come home and he'll be like, talking about some of the other guys in some of the guys groups, and he can just relate to them. So I would say the stacking and just the networking.
Very cool. All right. And then lastly, what is one thing you would say to a farm wife looking to come in with her husband or by herself? What would you say to them?
Do it, and don't be scared to hop on and talk about issues and problems. And we all are going through the same things, and it's nice to hear how we each deal with it. And the farming life is not easy, so this is a real raw group. There's no phoniness. It's tough being in our position, and I think we need each other's support a little bit. So I would say do it. I'm glad we did.
Mm-hmm.
And we were only in a little over a month.
Yeah, it feels like longer to me.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you and Jeff hesitant?
I found it,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just like, started listening to some of the podcasts, and I saw Jace's ad, and I'm like, I'm really intrigued about this. And he started listening. He goes, wow, like this sounds real. And I'm like, it is. It's real. I've been listening to the podcast. You got to listen to the podcast too. And we weren't hesitant, actually. I was like, should we try it? Should we see what this is all about? And so we did it, and then we got you.
Very good.